Welcome back, America. Today we're going to talk about the tax on false reports presented to the American people in March, the year 14 after Bitcoin. So the truth is that the federal income tax is the tax on federal income. And that means the tax on federal income may be lawfully avoided by abstaining from the benefit or avoiding the privilege on which the excise is imposed. The revenue laws relate to taxpayers and not to non-taxpayers. The latter are without their scope. No procedure is prescribed for non-taxpayers, and no attempt is made to annul any of their rights and remedies in due course of law. So let's talk about avoiding federal income. First of all, you must avoid wages, because wages mean compensation for services, and unless you perform a government service, you didn't get wages. Also, I would avoid the term self-employment, because that means the gross income derived from a trade or business, which is the performance of the functions of a public office. Also, avoid gains on property, meaning if you don't have property belonging to the United States, you cannot have gains on such property. And at all times, avoid all forms of anything called gross income, because gross income is the 16th Amendment income, which is the 1909 corporate excise tax. Most of all, though, don't let anyone else claim gross income on your behalf if they didn't in fact provide any federal income. That is, if you're paying federal income tax, then either you are paying the tax on your federal income or you're paying the tax on falsely reported federal income. Here's how it works. You have a right to work, and work means the exchange of labor for pay. In principle, there can be no difference between the case of selling your labor and the case of selling goods. You have a right to labor and other services which are exchanged for money or other forms of property. Labor itself is not taxable. The property which every man has in his own labor, as it is the original foundation of all other property, so it is the most sacred and inviolable. The patrimony of the poor man lies in the strength and dexterity of his own hands, and to hinder this employing his strength and dexterity in what manner he thinks proper, without injury to his neighbor, is a plain violation of this most sacred property. Let's have a look at the present-day matrix. The man who hires laborers believes that he has employees. The man who labors for pay believes that he has an employer and that he is receiving wages. And none of those things are true, because as you know, an employee is a government employee, an employer is the government, and wages are government pay for government services. And the IRS is merely the bad cop who is waiting for a false accusation. So to the man who hires workers, I suggest that thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And to the worker who labors for pay, thou shalt not allow a false accusation to go unchallenged. It is your choice to file an honest tax return or a false tax return. And honesty is not a choice. Honesty is the law, as the tax forms must be signed under penalties of perjury. Therefore, you have an affirmative duty to correct the record so that it reflects the truth. Here's how Bear Arms does his tax return. He writes down his street, his city, and for the state, he writes down without the United States because he knows that he's not within the District of Columbia. He's in fact in a foreign country called the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And of course, because he did not have government property, he did not have any virtual currency. He received no wages, he has no gross income, he has no taxable income, and therefore he pays no tax, and he owes no tax. His occupation is discharged from service, since his discharge from the army. And his spouse's occupation is that she did not perform any service. Notice the digital assets question. It says, did you receive as a reward, award, or payment for property or services any digital assets? Of course, the proper answer, now that you know what property and services mean, is no. Thanks for watching my channel. If you have any other questions, please watch Honest Tax Returns, first published in 2016. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Thank you.